Well, for children, developmentally, their brains are growing at an enormous pace. And that is true, we know now, through their mid-20s, right? And so it's fun to watch them grow, and curiosity is a huge piece of that. So anytime we limit curiosity, obviously with some safe boundaries is important, which I think we're going to get into in this discussion, but then we also don't allow that like very physical neural networks and gray matter and all of the things to do their work to grow and expand and develop and then be the bedrock that they need for later in life to be able to think of great ideas and to be able to solve their own problems in life. Since identity development is really the work of youth, right? The work especially of adolescence and teenage life, and it's quite a lengthy piece of development. They don't see something that is familiar to them, then there's, first of all, a neurobiological component of that. Our brains do, we know at this point, really kind of tag or earmark things that are familiar. Like things we learn in the home, we know are more sticky for our brains, if you will. Or if we hear it in more than one space, so at home, at school, and somewhere else, they're more sticky to us. And so then we're limiting someone's identity development if they're not seeing the representation of themselves, which is the utmost of familiarity, right? Like, this is who I am, this is my space in the world, and how I can navigate and move within it. If they don't get that, number one, in even their own home, because those books are hard to access, or film like with their facial representation or any aspect of themselves, it will diminish their ability to kind of reach that place and I think have that more concrete idea of identity development. You know, I think this is a question we try to ask in general in society when really it's intended to be asked in intimate relationships, right? The children, we know, adolescents, we know, even young adults, we know, need at least 3 to 5 adults in their life that will help walk alongside them to help them figure out those questions. And so it's that, you know, age old metaphor of like, I can either bring you a fish and you can eat for a day, or I can teach you how to fish and you can fish for a lifetime. That is so important with teaching kids how to navigate the world. And so if I can be beside a child and help them choose books that work for them, that aren't too scary for them, that don't create anxiety, that do have that representation, and we can see that together, that have you know, wild storylines that are outside of what we see because we need imagination in our life and in our world, that have both honesty about the hard things of life and also like the beauty that I need in order to walk through those hard things, then I am only giving you the fish. And so I do think that aspect of relationship, of walking alongside children to pick them out, is probably the best way to understand where that child is at in their development. I think instead we push it up the like sociological scale and ask a large group of people, a community, an education system, or other places to do that, when it's really a work of intimacy to say, oh, this is developmentally appropriate for you. Or to even ask the question, what is developmentally appropriate for you? What do you need in your life right now today? Yeah, just talk, and talk some more. You know, I'm a really big believer, even in my therapy office, of food and its ability to create some semblance of comfort and familiarity and intimacy so that big topics can be broached. I think this is one reason why supper tables are really good. And contrary to some, I think, parenting that we've seen in the past, recommendations that you talk with your child in the car because it's less uncomfortable for them if you're not making eye contact. Like, no, like, I think that there is more safety when you do actually exist within intimacy with your child. to sit around a space. And I do think that food really helps to be able to then bring some of the familiarity and the less like, oh, this is an intense situation, an uncomfortable conversation. So I really recommend dinner table conversations, but also parents have a radar. If the topic is there in the world, your child likely, if they don't know about it, has a sense of it. Our nervous systems really are one key way that we bring in information. And so there's so much upsetting in the world, and so much unfairness that they're really aware of, and injustice, that if your radar inside of you is going off that your child needs to hear or talk about something, you are likely 80% accurate at least, and I would trust that radar a little bit, and then come into it with some gentleness. Hey, I've been thinking about this topic. I don't know how much you know. Do you need a definition? How can we help so that we both understand this topic, if that's something that would be helpful for you today? So, you just approach with gentleness, but honesty. Kids, they know. Give them the answers they need to be able to navigate the world.